Well, welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have everybody here today. This is exciting. This past, I guess it's only been the past 2 weeks maybe, we have received information about support from both the County Executive's Office and the State of Maryland through the help of our delegation here in Anne Arundel County. And that's huge because a combination of those two things is over $500,000. And we are right at that point that we're getting ready to truly start this project. So I'm going to actually very quickly hand it over, and at the end I'll talk a little bit more about the project and where we are, but I think we need to provide great thanks to Steve Schuh and the County Executive's Office for his support. So we're going to start there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is such a pleasure to be here with so many people who are working very, very hard to empower women in our community. And I want to begin by thanking the staff and volunteers of the YWCA for all the hard work you do here in Anne Arundel County, and also our partners at the state level who have been very consistent and steady in their support of this organization and helping this organization advance its mission. Of course, Speaker Mike Bush. Without his support, nothing can happen, as you well know. And he has been rock solid behind you guys every step of the way, year after year. Chairman Pam Vital, another powerful force. When she puts her shoulder to the wheel, things happen, as we see time and time again. Senator John Astor represents you in the legislature, was very supportive, as was Delegate Frederick Nolan, who also represents you in the legislature. This, I believe, Chairman Vital, you said was the 4th straight year of bond bill financing for this organization. That's almost unprecedented, I got to tell you. As you know, probably better than most, our county faces many different pathologies. Everything from homelessness to food insecurity to lack of job skills, low income status, many other areas of concern, one of which is, of course, domestic violence. And I don't believe Anne Arundel County could ask for a better partner in trying to address the challenge of domestic violence than the YWCA. Government can't begin to address all of those pathologies by itself. They're just too vast. The problems are too extensive for us to just kind of go it alone. So we have to be working in partnership with people like you, and we appreciate the partnership we have with YWCA. Now, the shelter program is, of course, crucial to your work. To break the cycle of domestic violence, a woman who's being abused or demeaned has to have a place to go, right? Simple as that. And that's why this shelter initiative is so important, and why I'm so pleased on behalf of Anne Arundel County government to announce a $150,000 grant that will be a companion to the state grant, that is also a companion to the Local Development Corporation grant. So altogether, several $100,000 to put towards this important project. Public safety is a very high priority for us in county government and for the state government. Very often we think of police and we think of fire. We don't often think of victim services as a critical element of public safety, but it is. And that points again to why this shelter program is so important. So this is just an example of something that we're trying to do to help out, help your efforts to go even further, and we're glad to be in a position to help out this year. It's now my pleasure to introduce our delegate and our speaker, Mike Bush.
Thank you, and thank the county for its contribution. You know, I was thinking when I came up here today that when I first started in public office, back when George Washington was that you know, the Y was down on State Circle. You could look out at your office and you would see Y was where the little pottery shop is now. And Mike Cohen was the person who was in charge of the Y at the time. And they came up here and found this building. The leadership, the volunteers, the YWCA. And the state and county executive, Jim Lighthizer, got together to get the money to purchase the facility that we're in today. And as the facility has grown, the amount of programs that you offer has grown, and all very much needed. And unfortunately, in this day and age, domestic violence seems to be growing. Human trafficking seems to be growing. And you need an organization like the Y to step up and make sure that there's a place for women and children that have been displaced. And Molly knows this better than anybody. When they were building the new facility, or getting ready to build a new facility, Kristen Jones was my chief of staff, and she came in and said, "You got to get $1 million for the Y." So I think she stayed on me, and I made sure we get $1 million from the state for the Y. And then over the last 3 years, we've contributed $1.8 million to the building of this wonderful new facility, which is going to service numerous individuals in Anne Arundel County. And County Executive Schuh is 100% right of all the different type of individuals that are going to be needing a facility like this. So I just have to tell you that you do wonderful work here. And without the volunteers that put themselves out there day in, day out, these plans don't come to fruition. I can't say enough good things about Molly. She has been a crusader for you guys in Annapolis. We've been on the phone numerous times in the last couple of years to make sure that the state continues to make contributions. And we're going to continue to make contributions in the future as well, because we very much want to see this come to fruition. So with that, every time we push for this, every member of the delegation has been supportive, but no one more supportive than our chairman, Pam Biden. She deserves a tremendous amount of credit for making sure that we get money to the YWCA. So I can't say enough great things to her, not only as chairman of the delegation, but the fact that she's been a great advocate for those who volunteer here for the issues of doing away with domestic violence and human trafficking. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Pam Biden.
Well, congratulations to all of you. It's a beautiful project. And I actually got to know and learn about the Y about 25 years ago when I won a Twin Award and began working on the Twin Committee. And then I ran for county council, and I couldn't be on the Twin Committee anymore because I wasn't allowed to ask for money. So, but that's where my beginning was, and to watch you grow and to see where Molly has brought this project with her leadership for all of you and your hard work. And you know, we really want to. Obviously, this house is close to coming to fruition, and your next piece is the sex trafficking facility, which we really hope to continue to support and get that. So the speaker's been tremendously supportive the last couple of years. I don't think many people realize how important it is to this county to have the Speaker of the House be one of our representatives, and he's just been so helpful. So Molly has my phone number. She calls me, she texts me, she emails me. You know how that goes, right, with Molly? And then I call the Speaker, text him. Oh, I see Delegate Mark Chang came in. I didn't see you earlier. Thank you for being here, Delegate Chang. So as the Speaker said, we have 15 members of our delegation. We have, right now, 8 Democrats and 7 Republicans. But supporting the Y has been something that we all agree on. And every year, the bonds that we request for the Y are the become the number one request as we rank them. Delegate Chang is chair of the Capital Budget Subcommittee in the delegation, and we always make sure the Y is at the top and getting your share. So I just want to congratulate all of you. It's just incredible work that you do as a board, as volunteers. I visited the other house, and I think that's when I realized how important it was that we get a new facility for the women that you take care of and protect. So thank you all for your work, and again, thank you, Speaker Bush, and And thank you very much, County Executive Schuh. It's a great project that we're all going to be able to do a ribbon cutting one day, right? Yes.
Julia, Jane, did you want to say anything, or you're good? You're good. Thank you. So I do want to make sure that I formally thank Speaker Bush. You've really been amazing. And the mistake when they say I have their phone numbers is that they've called me from their cell phones, and you know I program those in the second they call. So for future reference, you might want to block when you call me. But Speaker Bush, you've been amazing. And this has been many years of relationship. Pam, you have obviously been one of our hugest, that's a word, proponents of all times. What's that?
Big league.
Big league. The delegation has been amazing, certainly. Delegate McMillan, Delegate Chang, I know that you're very interested in the trafficking piece and the domestic violence, and that means a lot to us. And ongoing has been the county executive's office in terms of funding for our programs, because part of this is building it and part of it is obviously staffing it. So we appreciate that for us to serve 10,000 people a year, it really requires the capital component and then the programmatic piece. I want to thank our board. We have quite a few board members in the room today. When we started this project, it really took a leap of faith from our board members to do that. It's not an easy feat, for sure. And some people, I'm not sure that they totally knew what they were getting into when they came onto the board when you're in the middle of a capital campaign. And then, most importantly, is our staff. So, and one of the things that comes to light is when we were just talking right before we came in here, our shelter director is here, Kate, and she said, we've got a couple people who aren't going to be able to come after all because, we've got some stuff that we're handling out of the shelter. We've got attorneys that are in the courtroom right now, which is why they can't be here. So the point is that there are important services happening all the time, and we don't know when intakes are happening, when there's a crisis at the courthouse, when a counseling client will come in immediately and need our help. And so it's kind of interesting that as we're all coming in here and talking about our successes, I'm also watching clients come through the door and people say, I have to, scoot out and I've got this emergency. So really biggest kudos, people talk about what I've done or who I've talked to, and it's not me. I'm not the person who's working day in and day out with the clients. It's exhausting. I used to do licensed counseling, and I'll tell you, it's hard work, and you have to give it all every day. So to our staff, the motivation is actually equally our team members who have devoted their careers to this as much as it is to the clients that we serve. So I really, kudos to our staff. The couple things that I want to share with you is just how far we've come. So when you talk about what's happened with the shelter that we're doing this, I would tell you that when we talked about doing a capital campaign probably almost 5 years ago, I guess, and we brought it to the board, there was an initial apprehension, as there would be, because it's huge. I mean, we're under $2 million organization, and this is a $6.5 million project. And there's a piece where people say oh geez, are we really going to be able to do this? And how are we going to do this? And is this going to take, and I'm not saying this jokingly, 20 years to get to that point? A major gift for this organization was about $100 back then. And so when you start saying we want to raise, $10,000 per person or $150,000 per person, or we need $1 million bond bill, or we need the program dollars to continue, people go is that a realistic expectation? And I think here today we see very much that what has happened is our community came behind us, our politicians came behind us, individual funders, foundations, people stood behind this project and said it is absolutely unacceptable for any individual, man, woman, or child, and we do serve men as well, to have to return to an abusive situation. And so we know that it's out in public, and this is a critical piece. So now, we have this shelter. We're looking at breaking ground in October, knock on wood. We're ready to do this. We're actually pretty much on schedule, which is unheard of. So we're in the permitting process, and that's, I'm going to say this on camera, on schedule and running well, so that we're hoping that continues at pace, but we've gotten good support on that. Next up, we're already designing the second shelter, so we're working with the architect for the trafficking shelter for minors. And that we hope to start about 8 months after this shelter is completed. We very much appreciate the community. We very much appreciate everybody who's provided the ongoing support, the program dollars. We've had numerous donors who say, I'm going to donate to the Capitol and to program. We appreciate our volunteers. We have almost 100 volunteers. We can't serve this many people with solely staff folks, so we're appreciative of them as well. And we're looking at breaking ground right around October 1st, and hopefully we'll be open January of 19. So that is our goal, and we're feeling great about it. I'm really excited, and I'm excited for our team. So again, thank you to our delegation. I'm so pleased that you could all be here, and very, very generous, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.